Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Trust you and yours are well and you love yourself and others like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you, my team subscribers, you love, celebrated, and of course appreciated. So we have this African American who it's making fun of Burkina Faso, of African nations, African countries. According to him, if Africa claimed to be the motherland, why is it that Africa is depending on them, Americans, for aid? And Africa is one of the continents that is dependent on the American aid, USAID. I think we talked about USAID here. And this brother of us, okay, anyway, he said he's not a brother. This melanated claims that Africa is so poor and Africans are so illiterate that we cannot compare to them who are in America. I'm sorry for some of you who think that this discussion do not need an audience. It's causing a lot of havoc in the melanated community for a fact. Because when you begin to listen to the level of the understanding that this very young man have about Africa and the continent, sometimes it can leave tears in your eyes if you're not in a good shape at the moment where you listen to him. And that if Africa is so great, why are Africans running to America? That one I wouldn't blame him. It is we Africans who do not want to remain in our home and repair our home. This young man claims that if Africa have resources, why is Africa depending on aid from America? And I wouldn't blame him. It is because of the stupidity of our leaders, the wickedness, the greed of our leaders, that Africa is in the state that Africa is in. And then we have a brother of ours on the other side who feels that he can mock Burkina Faso for the situation that they were in prior to their liberation. He can mock the Sahel region. He can mock African countries that are suffering from the same government that he is under. But he feels that we are suffering because we really do not have anything in the continent. I want us to listen to him, and there are points that I want us to pick. The reason why I'm giving him audience, for some of you who would ask again, is because there are lots of melanated across the waters who have the same thoughts like him. This young man have a good amount of following. And whenever he puts out content like this, there are a good number who love the content that he puts out. Or there are a good number who love this particular type of content of his that he puts out. And it is our own job to change the narrative. Why are we changing the narrative? Because there's a whole lot of lies by mainstream media. It is the commercials that he has watched as an American growing up that he feels that Africa is what they have portrayed for him. A lot of Americans, a lot of melanated on the other side, think that what they see on commercials about Africa is the truth. And that is why, if you remember vividly, when Mr. Beast came to a port in Kenya to dig up boreholes or something to give water to those who do not have water, a lot of us were kicking against it. Why? Because this is the kind of image they portray to many melanated out there, especially in America. And then you all think that we are swimming in the mud or jumping from trees. Anyway, let's listen to him and we'll take it up from there.
All right, I would like to apologize to all Africans, whether you're in Burkina Faso, whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're in Sudan or up in Egypt, down in South America. I apologize. Welcome to the cookout. I was not aware of the statistics of Africans or the African continent. This is the average IQ by country 2025. As you can see, last place. All right, last place. I apologize. I did not know this before I started making these videos, okay? I should not be arguing with you guys. I should not be bringing myself down to the level of those who... I ain't even gonna finish that. Roughly 600 million people lacking access to electric. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all got enough problems going on. I'ma leave y'all alone. Hundreds of thousands of Africans migrating to the Americas, but talking mess about it is crazy. But, anyways, you guys receive the most foreign aid of any continent. So, it's not my position to talk down on you, but yet I should fulfill my due diligence and my duties and help you guys, send you guys aid like the rest of the world is doing. We stand with Africa.
All right, Majesty, so we have listened to him. Now let's dissect it. Okay. The first thing he made mention of is the fact that Africa is the last place. Whenever it comes to mainstream media giving statistics, whenever it comes to giving statistics of whatever, Africa is always in the last place. It's not today. It has been happening for a long time now. Africa has always been in the last place in the minds of all. Now, why do you think that the world always portray this whole idea of Africa is the last place, Africa is under there, Africa is down there? If Africa is the last place and there is nothing of significance about Africa, what are they always doing in Africa? Why are they frequenting Africa? What is always bringing them to the continent of Africa? Why did they even come here in the first place? To make away with people to go work and build their kingdoms for them if Africa was the last place. And I don't think this guy did enough research. Now, looking at the situation of the Sahel of Burkina Faso prior to this time, and then making a fun of it, and making it look like like laughing at their situation, making a fun of their situation. I don't know if it's the best thing to do, because when you look at the Sahel, you know that Africa can rule herself. Africa do not need any interference from Europe and America. Now, would the American government allow Africa to develop by herself? That is a question. And sometimes we have the answer while we are asking these questions. We know that the collective West will not let Africa be. If they will let Africa be, just like the Sahel is forcing them out. Look at the growth that the Sahel had recorded after the Sahel kicked out America. The same nation, the same kingdom he's in, making fun of Africa. Okay? The situation of the Burkina base was they were in a dire situation because of bad leaders, because of interference from America, first world country. But after they kicked out this so-called first world country that have everything that is in the first place, Burkina Faso is doing well. Look at the growth that has been recorded. Look at how everything has changed just within the twinkle of an eye. The same America is trying their best to lobby their way into the Sahel again, into Burkina Faso again. These are things that we see by day. Okay? And he talked about, 6 million lacking electricity, 1,000 migrating to America, lacking electricity. In short, see, Niger was the one lighting up the cities of France. After Niger took out the uranium, what are we seeing happening in France? So sometimes when you do not have enough research done, you come out to say some things, especially when it comes to Africa. I believe that there are quite a good number of melanated outside who do not really have the right picture about Africa. And that's why you see us here every day, not getting tired, trying to change the narrative, the havoc that have been done to the name Africa, to the continent Africa. We're trying our best to see that we correct those impressions that has been registered in the minds of a lot of melanated across the waters, Your Majesties. Talking about migrating, a lot of Africans migrating to America because, according to him, he feels that it's because Africa is in the last place. Africa do not have anything good in here. That's why a lot of Africans are migrating. And I wouldn't blame him. We are the one living our homes. We leave our homes, and governments of his come into our homes, steal our resources, go develop the nations where he is living in today. A lot of African resources have been extracted to build kingdoms, to build first world nations. We have evidences of these things. Okay, all the so-called aid, because he made mention of aid, the so-called aid that the America claim they have been giving Africa. We got to understand that this aid, they were aided terrorists, not even the citizens. Because we have seen clips where They come down in choppers, giving arms to these terrorists in exchange of gold that resources that these terrorists extract. Okay, the displaced people extract resources from the underground, give it in exchange for arms. All the arms that these terrorists are using are not made in Africa. They are made either in America, they are made either in Ukraine and other parts of the world, not in Africa. So what are we saying? It is good that we correct this impression that is being registered in the minds of melanated outside of the continent. That Africa is not what you think Africa is. Africa is not those commercials that you see on your television screens. Africa is beyond that. Okay? And for you to know that we are not what they are portraying to you, we are asking them to leave. We are asking them to leave and they are refusing to leave. If Africa is so poor, Africa need help all the time. Why is it that Africa is asking that they leave and they are refusing to leave? Because they know what they are gaining in Africa. That is the end of story. If Africa were so poor, what is America doing here? The American government doing always around Burkina Faso. What are they doing around the continent? If Africa was so poor and Africa need help, if we need help, just like you have gathered information you've gathered from Google. Why are they always here? And Africa is in this state today because Africa came in contact with this set of people. For a fact. So leave your thoughts and opinion there at the section, Your Majesties. I'm going to see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive always, Your Majesties. Bye for now.
The corruption watchdogs from the West have said 50 billion gets out of Africa from corruption every year. I get it. It's a lot of money. Let's go after it. But I'm also saying, African diaspora, wise up, listen to me. So we got a thief with $50 billion in the briefcase running away. Let me tell you about another thief. A little bitty country called France. And then I'll proceed to tell them about the pact for the continuation of colonization. Through that pact, one aspect of it, which had to do with bank reserves, France is taking out of Africa over $500 billion every year.
Right.
So now, I've told you about the thief with 500 billion and the thief with 50 billion. You are putting all your energies going after the thief with 100 billion. I'm not saying don't do that. Let's do that. But let's also prioritize. For you to be completely ignorant of this other thief with 500 billion. So after I finish doing that, invariably, every question without fail. But Ambassador, African leaders are corrupt.
Right.
I said, I get it. Why am I not getting 10 times more outrage about France? Yes, get outraged about what's happening in Africa. But I want the 10 times outrage about what's happening. And that's just France.
Right.
Look at Germany. They gave us a token 1 billion after the genocide in Namibia. Do you even know about that? Are you outraged about that? Look at Britain. Who goes to mourn the Queen and everything that happened under her watch and what happened under her mother's watch?